The cassowary. Nobody files a bird under lethal. This one would like a word. You will almost certainly never run into one, and honestly, that's the only reason it isn't a household name. It stalks the rainforests of northern Australia and New Guinea, looking like an ostrich crossed with a velociraptor, and it would much rather you just kept walking. But it carries a weapon on its foot that has, on record, ended a human life, and the way it happened is worse than you'd guess. Stand one up and it hits 6 feet, 130 pounds, glossy black with an electric blue neck and a bony helmet on its head. The inner toe ends in a straight claw up to 5 inches long. It kicks forward and down with both legs, sprints 31 miles an hour, and swims when it feels like it. Here's the math that matters. 1 toe, 1 kick, 1 jugular vein, severed at about ½ an inch. In 1926, a teenage boy in Queensland tried to club one, slipped, and the bird opened his neck. He died. It happened again in Florida in 2019. The leg works like a pickaxe. All the force of a 100-pound body funneled into a single rigid point the width of a steak knife. It is technically a bird, the kind of bird that comes with a coroner's report. It's the closest thing left to a living dinosaur, and it never got the memo that the dinosaurs lost. The ostrich. The cassowary grabs all the headlines, but if you're counting actual human deaths per year, the ostrich quietly outscores it. Several happen annually, mostly on farms across Africa, where people forget that the world's largest bird is also, when cornered, a deeply unhappy one. And the danger isn't the famous beak, it's the leg, and specifically, what's parked on the end of it. This is the tallest and heaviest bird alive, up to 9 feet and 300 pounds, the only bird on Earth with just 2 toes. The larger toe carries a 4-inch claw. It runs 43 miles an hour and kicks forward like a horse that learned to hold a grudge. Walk it up the ladder. A stride twice your height. A kick strong enough to outmuscle a lion. A clawed toe that opens its target like a zipper. A single ostrich kick has been measured powerful enough to kill a big cat or a person outright, somewhere around 2,000 pounds of force in one strike. Everything about this bird is built to outrun predators across open savanna, and those same spring-loaded legs become a battering ram the moment running stops being an option. And about that head in the sand thing, the one defensive move it never actually uses is the one we somehow gave it credit for. The biggest bird on Earth never needed to fly. It just needed one good leg and a reason. The mute swan. Here's the decompression beat, and it might be the most unsettling one on the list. Everything so far has been some exotic monster from a far-off rainforest. This is the bird from the postcard, the one gliding across the pond at the botanical garden while a toddler throws bread at it. And in 2012, it drowned a man. It didn't bite him or break him. It used the one thing it has that you don't. A mute swan runs up to 30 pounds with an 8-foot wingspan, and during nesting season, it turns fiercely territorial, with wings strong enough to crack bone. On land, it can't do much to you. On the water, it owns the place. So here's the sequence. 1 territorial bird, 1 tipped kayak, 1 drowning. In water shallow enough to stand in if you weren't being charged the whole time. Near Chicago, a man fell from his kayak while tending swans, and one of them kept lunging at him until his waterlogged clothes pulled him under. Death by swan on a suburban pond. The aggression is just parenting taken to its logical extreme. A nesting swan treats anything near its babies as a predator and has zero concept that you're not one. It's the most graceful animal on the pond with the temperament of a nightclub bouncer. And it turns out the prettiest bird on the water is also the only one with a recorded drowning to its name. Quick thing before we keep going. If you're enjoying learning about creatures like this, I post new animal deep dives all the time, and subscribing really helps. Thanks. The Harpy Eagle. Somewhere over the Amazon canopy right now, the largest eagle in the Americas is watching the forest floor. It hunts monkeys and full-grown sloths by ripping them straight out of the trees, and its feet are the entire reason. The number attached to its grip is one most people flatly refuse to believe. This is a gray giant, with a wingspan over 7 feet. The rear talons run up to 5 inches long, which is longer than the claws on a grizzly bear, and its feet are about the size of a grown man's hands, with the disposition of a bear trap. So stack it up. A talon longer than a grizzly's claw. A grip measured past 500 pounds per square inch. Enough force to puncture bone, not just skin. Those talons can drive clean through a human arm, and all 4 squeezing together crush the skulls of its prey instantly. A bear claw is bigger. The harpy's grip is stronger. Most people picture eagles as lightweight gliders riding the wind, but this thing is built like a flying powerlifter, trading the long-distance soaring of other eagles for short, explosive bursts through dense forest on stubby wings and absurdly oversized legs. Even the biologists who study it tend to describe the talons with the word ridiculous. Still filed under birdwatching, still able to crack bone, it will never come for you. The unsettling part is only that it absolutely could. The great horned owl. This one actually shares your neighborhood. It's the owl you hear and never see, the most adaptable raptor in the Americas, and it has been known to go after people who wander too close to a nest, aiming for the head. The danger isn't the size, it's how much force is hiding in a bird that weighs about 3 pounds. Its grip runs between 200 and 500 pounds per square inch, which matches a bald eagle 6 times its weight. Picture that, a 3-pound bird, a grip rivaling a bird 6 times heavier, talons clamped so hard it takes 28 pounds of pull just to pry 1 foot open. Those talons can sever the spine of its prey on impact, and people who got too near a nest have walked away needing stitches across the scalp from a strike they never heard coming. That silence is the whole trick. Comb-like serrations on its wing feathers break up the air so cleanly that the first warning you get is contact. Nature handed it the silence of a ninja and the grip of a car compactor, then sent it out into the dark and called it a day. You will hear an owl your entire life, and never once hear the dangerous one. Turns out, the most dangerous thing about a bird isn't always the beak or the claws. Sometimes it's the part of the brain that decided you were a threat. The golden eagle. Across the mountains of the northern hemisphere, the golden eagle hunts animals far bigger than itself. Deer, goats, even young wolves, knocked off cliffs or struck out of a dive. Its real resume is brutal enough, which is exactly why it never needed the lie that got stapled to it. There's a video you've almost certainly seen. It's fake, and the truth about what an eagle can and can't carry is the actual story. This bird dives at over 150 miles an hour, grips at around 400 pounds per square inch, and has been documented killing prey 8 times its own weight. Run it up the ladder. A dive past 150 miles an hour. Talons sinking into prey 8 times its body weight. The whole thing driven straight over a cliff edge. The kill was never about lifting. It's about leverage and gravity. The eagle using the prey's own weight to shove it off a ledge. Here's the part people get wrong though. That famous clip of a golden eagle scooping a toddler out of a city park was a student animation project. The common version of this is wrong, because there's no reliably documented case of any eagle flying off with a healthy human child. For a while there, an entire internet briefly agreed to be afraid of the wrong thing. It can drag a full-grown deer off a mountain. It's almost insulting that we spent our worry on the toddlers instead. The Lammergeier. High in the mountains of Europe, Africa, and Asia lives the only animal with a backbone that eats almost nothing but bone. To get at the marrow inside, it carries entire skeletons into the sky and drops them onto the rocks below. And legend says it once mistook a bald man's head for one of those rocks. Whether that story is true or not, the behavior behind it is completely real. And that's the genuinely unsettling part. Up to 90% of its diet is bone. It hauls bones nearly half its own body weight up to 400 feet, then drops them onto stone slabs until they shatter. So picture it, a bone half its own weight, lifted 400 feet, dropped onto rock until it splits open. Despite the name, this bird isn't bald. and it isn't the gore-soaked carcass scavenger people picture when they hear vulture. It's stained orange from deliberately bathing in iron-rich mud, and it eats bones, not rot. It's a vulture that dyes itself orange and outsources its meals to physics. According to ancient accounts, the Greek playwright Aeschylus died exactly this way, when a large bird dropped a tortoise onto his bald head, and the bearded vulture is the prime suspect. By now, the rule is obvious. A bird does not have to bite you to be the last thing you ever meet. A man who wrote tragedies for a living may have died in the most absurd one ever staged. The emu. The cassowary's calmer cousin still stands over 6 feet and runs at 30 miles an hour. People rarely die from emus, sure, but the machinery is the same. Long legs, clawed toes, and the kick that arrives with both. And Australia once sent the actual army after them. It did not go the way the army planned. This bird hits 6.5 feet and over 100 pounds, with 3-toed feet whose claws can rip through wire fencing, running 31 miles an hour. So the picture builds: claws that tear through fence wire, a kick that can open flesh under the right conditions, a bird that fled a machine gun and then came back for more. Because in 1932, Australia deployed soldiers with machine guns against an emu population that was destroying crops, in what got officially nicknamed the Emu War. The emus scattered, regrouped, and simply outlasted them. The birds won. It remains the only documented military campaign lost to poultry. Like the cassowary and the ostrich, the emu is a runner first, its body engineered for speed across open country, and the defensive kick is really just a side effect of legs built for sprinting. The pattern keeps holding. The deadlier the bird, the less it looks the part. The southern giant petrel. Out in the Southern Ocean, the seabirds people picture as gentle gliders include one that earned the nickname the vulture of the South. It doesn't just scavenge, it hunts, and it kills by drowning. Its method is the exact same one that killed that man on the Chicago pond, except this bird does it on purpose, to prey its own size. With a wingspan up to 7 feet, it seizes penguins and even adult albatrosses by the neck and forces their heads underwater until they stop moving. Walk it out. A bird that drowns penguins, then full-grown albatrosses, then basically anything its own size it can pin beneath the surface. It will grip a sleeping albatross by the neck and hold its head under, methodical and patient until it's done, then tear into the body like a proper scavenger. Most people assume the killers of the seabird world are the ones with hooked talons and a sharp beak. This one does it with a grip and a whole lot of patience. In a habitat with nowhere to hide and never quite enough food, it stays flexible, equally happy to strip a seal carcass or commit murder, whichever the day hands it. It's a seagull that read about sharks and took detailed notes. The same trick that drowned a man on a quiet suburban pond is, for this bird, just lunch. The Hooded Pitohui. Here's the one that breaks the whole list. Every bird so far kills with force, a claw, a kick, a grip, a drop, a drowning. This one is a songbird the size of your palm, bright orange and black, sitting in the forests of New Guinea. It can't strike you. It doesn't need to. The thing that makes it lethal is the same compound sitting on the skin of a poisoned dart frog, and it's woven right into this bird's feathers. Its skin and feathers carry homobatrachotoxin, a neurotoxin 250 times more potent than strychnine, first documented back in 1989. So climate, a palm-sized songbird, a toxin 250 times stronger than strychnine, the same chemical family that indigenous hunters once used to tip their darts. The bird doesn't even make the poison. It pulls it from toxic beetles it eats and stores it in its skin and feathers. Chemistry borrowed rather than built. Most people assume no bird is poisonous, that toxins are strictly a frog and snake thing. This little songbird quietly proves them wrong. It looks like a Halloween decoration and is roughly as safe to lick, with rusty orange feathers and a jet black hood in the exact colors of a warning label. Researchers actually discovered the whole thing by handling one and feeling their hands go numb. We started with the bird that looks like it could kill you. We're ending with the one that doesn't and can. That's the part the feathers never warned anyone about. The deadliest bird on this entire list is the one that looks the most harmless, weighs the least, and never has to lift a single feather against you. If you made it all the way here, you're exactly the kind of person I make these for. I post new animal deep dives every week, so hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.